into the Monday edition of the Coach and Bro Show, part of the BTT universe. I'm your boy, the Coach, and my goodness, did we have a weekend in the world of pro wrestling and sports entertainment. This is where you come every single Monday and Thursday. We are live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also watch us on demand anytime you want at our BTT YouTube page. Now, a big time thank you to all of you. Overnight, Sunday night, we just passed the 15,000 subscriber mark. 15,000. So thank you to all of you. Now, we have a brand new sponsor, but before we bring them on board, let's bring in my partner from russosbrand.com. He is the one and only Vince Russo. Vince, busy weekend. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Very, very busy weekend with the Royal Rumble. I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about that today. Coach, little empty yesterday, though, man. When you have a week without NFL after how many months, it's like you don't know what to do with yourself almost. When there's no NFL on Sunday, it's like, what, man, it's 2 p.m. What am I watching? You know what I mean?
It was such – so I had I was at my son's golf tournament. He had a 2-day tournament. And so I was busy, thank goodness. Otherwise, I would have been in the same exact place you were. What are we doing? Super Bowl's this Sunday. And, you know, Coach and Company live every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We started our coverage this morning, so we're excited about that. But, Vince, what we're also excited about here at the Coach and Bro Show, you have you've decided that in your household you're not going to shave and you're going to look like Grizzly Adams for a very, very long time. But you're also very clean. But some people are not. And some things they don't talk about is the funk that you walk around with every single day. So our brand new sponsor is Mando from shopmando.com. And I said, hey, if we're going to have it here on the show, you're going to send it to me so I can try it before we even get it on the show. So here's what we're going to do. I got my starter pack about a week ago, and I've been trying it. I have never smelled better, Vince, than I have in the last week. So here's what the starter pack looks like. You can have your stick of deodorant. You can have your your tube of deodorant, which most places don't have because you normally just put it in the normal places. Not here with Mando, because the doctor who founded it, she's amazing. But she also realized you got funk all over your body. Then you get 2 free items as part of the starter pack. I decided to go with something that I think you would wear. The bourbon leather body wash or the deodorant wipes. Those are the 2 free items that I chose. And if they use the code EXPLODES, EXPLODES, you get $5 off. That's the equivalent of 40% off your Mando starter pack at shopmando.com. And Vince, one other thing, they threw in the cleansing bar. I haven't even opened it. You can smell it through the box. It's that good. Shopmando.com. Could not be more excited. Your thoughts?
Okay. Let's put the mamby-pamby aside. Gentlemen, and I use that term loosely, listening to this show, it took me 64 years to come up with a cure for the sweaty balls. You know what I'm talking about, gentlemen, and I don't wear any underwear, so it's 3 times as worse. 64 years I'm walking around with the sweaty balls, Coach, and then I get these Mando wipes, bro. These Mando wipes, I go down to the grundle. I use these wipes on the grundle. 72 hours, odor-free. 72 hours, balls smelling like baby powder. 72 hours, gentlemen. Come on, man. If you want the hey nanny, you can't have a stinky grundle down there. Mando is the answer. All right, Coach, let's get down to business.
All right, if you want to be a part of the Coach and Bro Show and we want to know your opinion, Mr. Vince Russo, please let the good people know home. Let them know how they can be a part of the show, sir.
Yeah, guys, please. We love your involvement on this show, and you can do that through a super sticker or a donation. It could be a question, it could be a comment, and we will throw you right up on the screen, and we will address whatever you have to say through a super sticker or a comment.
All right. And once again, thank you to Shop Mando or Mando at shopmando.com. All right, Vince, we got a lot to talk about. And the beauty of pro wrestling when we had a night like Saturday night, and not all of it was great, but when you have a night like that, it makes doing a show like this so incredibly easy. Now, I'm going to pat myself on the back because I called it 2 or 3 weeks ago when I looked at the layout with the number of stars and who could benefit the most, and the fact that right here on the Coach and Bro Show, when they had Jey Uso be the Intercontinental Champion for a heartbeat, I said they're thinking about something bigger. And he was 60-1 at mybookie.ag to go off. If you bet on Jey Uso, you cleaned up. The way they did it, though, did you like it?
Listen, I don't like the decision, but I know, I've come to the understanding of, why the WWE is doing what they're doing. I am, Coach, I am still all about getting those casual fans. The WWE and I are on two separate pages. I understand that. They're making money hand over fist. They're catering to an audience that they already have. Jey Uso is not going to draw any casual fans. John Cena would have, but again, man, it's their company. They're free to do what they want. But this is really just an example, Coach, of them, just kind of turning their back on the casual fan base. I mean, I just, listen, good for Jay. He's a hard worker. He's been there a really long time. Charisma at the wazoo. The people are with him. All those things. However, when it comes to business at the end of the day, I just don't think he's going to bring that casual fan base back.
All right, so I'm going to disagree with you in this way, that if they do something with this, then maybe they can. From a business perspective, right now, he's got the number one selling T-shirt in the entire company and has had for 2 or 3 months. They talk about, I don't think he's going to be a part of the main event, even though that's what it's supposed to be when you win the Royal Rumble, because I've always said if you start a show off and everybody's eating, that's an incredible look. But to your point of bringing in the casual fan, that's got to be the number one thing that they think about when they're putting it out there. So let me ask you this. How would you have done it differently in order to try to draw that casual fan in? Because they were far and away the number one trending topic on Saturday night, which they normally are for a PLE. What would you have done differently to get to the end of that men's match?
I think what I would have done, Coach, here's what I see happening. This is what I see happening just looking at the way things are laying out. They've already gone down the road, and Gunther has already stated that Jey Uso has faced him a couple of times and never beaten him. So I think they've set that up for WrestleMania, where he's going to get that one last shot against Gunther. And of course, at WrestleMania, defeat Gunther for the first time and become the champion. In conjunction with that, they got to pay off CM Punk going to a main event of WrestleMania. You can't wait around because Punk is getting older. Punk always gets injured. So I believe Punk is going to win the Elimination Chamber at WrestleMania. I mean, the Elimination Chamber, go to WrestleMania and meet Cody Rhodes. I believe what they're going to do, Coach, and this is where I differ from them.
Okay.
I believe Cena's going to keep coming up short. We've got a year of this John Cena tour till finally towards the end of the year, he finally gets that title shot. What I would have done is I'm not into waiting. I'm into the here and the now. And I want to get those casual fans back immediately. That's why I would have put Cena over at the Royal Rumble, him and Cody Rhodes, at WrestleMania. But I have no patience. I'm from New York. I like to do things immediately. Like I said, man, I think Cena's going to keep falling short. And then when we get to the end of the run, he's finally going to get that shot.
Okay, fair. Well, we have Nonsense McGee. He wants to be a part of the conversation, Vince.
Beautiful.
Via a super sticker. He says, myriad of options, having Jay win. Many of the other feuds don't need a title chase. Punk, Roman Reigns, Cena, etc. Jay deserves it, and he does cross-connect with a ton of folks on socials. That's kind of where I fell on this, is that when you're going to have the most star-studded Royal Rumble match of all time. Meaning, normally, Vince, we have what, 10 or 12 guys that legitimately say, can they main event WrestleMania? Okay, I thought we had 15 or 16 that, and we didn't have really any surprises other than I Show Speed, hat off to him for the bumps he took. But I thought that having Jay win in a match with so many other stars, that they can now give him the rub. That if he has the ability to go out there and cut a promo, which I don't know if he does. I don't know if he does, Vince. But what I would do tonight is go out there and say, listen, you may not agree with it. You may not think that I'm main event worthy, but I just beat boom, 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 and rip all of them off. It doesn't settle the casual fan argument, and I will give you that. But that's nothing that Jey Uso can control. But I think if you want to make him a star, and if a casual fan does come in and they watch him, I would kick off Raw with Jey Uso. I would yeet for 4 or 5 minutes. I would have Michael Cole putting him over like $1 million. And then maybe if they're smart and they're watching the show right now, they write a promo for him to try to get to the casual fan, then put it up on social media to try to get them that way. Because I don't know how else you would do it at this point. As far as a casual fan, I mean.
Yeah, Coach, I agree with you, but the booking of Jey Uso between now and WrestleMania, it's got to be flawless. Just has to be flawless. And listen, man, they've showed us time and time again, that's kind of where they fall short. They can make casuals, get on board between now and there and then, but the booking's got to be flawless.
All right, so let's talk about some of the other guys. Speaking of booking, I explained on a video I posted last night on my IG page, I was in 2 Royal Rumbles. And I'm not saying that I was a star, anything like that, but I was in the room when they put the Rumble together. So I know what they're thinking. And you were also in the room for several Royal Rumbles. And what I said in my video was this, Vince, is that the art of the Royal Rumble is allowing you to win even when you lose, and getting your shine, getting your spot in, getting in there and saying, you know what? And I thought one guy that was able to do that was Jacob Fatu. And I thought the way they put him over and the spots that they put him in was absolutely incredible. And that's not easy to do when you've got all those guys in there. Now, a guy that I thought didn't do much for his stardom was Seth Rollins. I thought he was just kind of there, and they didn't do anything to push his story forward because the CM Punk was not a feature. It was all about Jay and John Cena. Did you agree that Jacob Fatu, yes, Seth Rollins, no, or who did you think shined the brightest?
It is clear they want to push Jacob Fatu. That is absolutely clear, and it is clear Solo's going to come back and Fatu's going to claim that he's head of the table, and they're going to get into Fatu and Solo and make Solo a babyface, and that's fine. But you should have started that by Fatu eliminating Solo in the Royal Rumble. Solo was not a part of the Royal Rumble. I know they're going there, Coach, and that's fine. That's a good story, but this would have been the perfect place to start it. I think another guy that really shined and looked good just by spearing Reigns alone was Braun Breaker. You know they're going to get behind him. Here's the person, man, they're going to kill. They're going to kill, man, is Drew McIntyre. They did it again to Drew McIntyre, and you can give me all the ridiculous work stories of him leaving the arena pissed off at somebody. Guys, you can't keep going to that well before Drew McIntyre means nothing. Thank God Drew McIntyre is so talented and can cut such a good promo and is so believable that he's been able to overcome, every loss, every time he's come up short. But my God, Coach, you can only go to that well so many times.
There is nobody on the roster that I've been around that I have more respect for than Drew McIntyre. And I think the side of the fence that you and I fall on is the take it seriously and respect the business aspect. And nobody does that more than Drew McIntyre. He's a guy that came and went and had to come again. His story has not been just a meteoric rise. And I think that's why he takes his role so seriously. So whether or not the storming out or somebody went into business for themselves story is true, the fact that they eliminated him well before the end of the match, I thought was incredibly surprising and not a good idea. He should have been standing strong at the end. Not if even if he didn't win. Drew McIntyre, the way he's built, the star that he is, the guy that he is, and the way that he calls people out is what you want every superstar to be. And when you eliminate him and you ask him to do the whole surprise thing, and oh my God, I can't believe that I got eliminated. That's not how he should have been eliminated. You can still make him strong and that way, but to not get him to the last 3 or 4 to me was an oversight and a mistake. And I think that Triple H and those who decided that were so focused on the ending and getting CM Punk to the final 3. So I think your comments about CM Punk spot on, and I think Drew McIntyre spot on.
Coach, let's give our audience what nobody else gives them, because you know what's going on here, Coach. You were there for decades. You know what was going on, and I've seen this backfire a million times before. Coach, unfortunately, Drew McIntyre has the bulletproof label. That's what they're looking at. That's what Triple H is looking at. Because he's so good, he's bulletproof, and you can't hurt him. That's the way they book him. And what happens, Coach, is you keep booking somebody that way, and all of a sudden they're not bulletproof anymore. And people they start losing faith in that talent. I think they are right up to that line with Drew McIntyre. And I think, man, they have to start booking him a little bit more differently, or else, man, those bullets are going to start riddling through.
They're not stupid. They are not stupid. And I go back to Roman Reigns. When I went back in 2018 for my cup of coffee, Vince was adamant. Roman Reigns is going to be the guy. Roman Reigns is going to be, and the fans were like, "Man, he's just main evented 4 years, and we're booing him." But they kept pushing him in a way to make him strong, and he became the number one name in the business. Nike, Brand Jordan, all that kind of stuff. Don't you think that Drew McIntyre is the type of guy that if they put their machine behind him, he could be a movie star. He could be an endorsement star. He's awesome when he goes on talk shows. How do you not see that Cody Rhodes is not the only guy that can be the face of your company? And to me, it's got to be Drew McIntyre. It has to be. It has to be.
Yeah, I agree with you, Coach. But, backstage, I never worked with Drew, so I don't know how he is backstage.
He's great. He's great.
Well, but see, that's the problem, Coach. If he's a yes sir, no sir guy, he's making it way, way too easy for them. You know what I mean? If he goes along with the script, whatever you want me to do, I'm a team player, I'm here for the company, then they're going to continue to do that.
Well, it goes back to a lot of things we talk about here on the Coach and Bro Show, and this is the Monday edition. If you don't catch us live, you can catch us on demand at our BTT YouTube page. Is that, and we brought this up with The Undertaker a few months ago, that now backstage, because the TV time and there's so much extras that can come your way, being a yes sir, no sir type of person is the way a lot of the talent feel like they need to be. So when they walked in, can you imagine walking into that Royal Rumble room? And for people who don't know, you get all 30 guys are in one room at about noon, and they go over every single move. And then they go, all right, this spot, you guys just fight over here. Nobody goes into business for themselves. But can you imagine them coming in and go, oh, by the way, Drew, you're going to come in at 12. You're going to be in there for a little while. We're going to, eliminate you with 8 to go. And are you happy with that? Oh, but we're going to push Logan Paul to the moon and give him 3 or 4 really big spots, which I actually really, really enjoyed. But Logan Paul is a part-time guy. If he's a full-time guy and you can feed into that, okay. But I can't imagine that I thought the Roman Reigns was well booked, but mentioning Logan Paul and how athletic he is, how much money do you think they would have to offer him to make him a full-time talent? Because that dude, to me, has it. And he is just a natural heel as well.
Yeah, listen, he's him and his brother are both doing all right for themselves, so I think they would have to offer him quite a bit of money. But you never know, man. If he loves doing it, and by all indication he does, you never know. But yeah, I mean, again, Coach, we come on here a lot and talk about the it factor. That's the it factor.
It really is. And for wrestling fans who go, oh, they hate on Logan Paul for whatever reason. He's only around once every couple of months. When you're a star, and say you're Tom Cruise. If Tom Cruise was on Monday Night Raw every week, he would not be the biggest movie star in the world. If Brad Pitt, it's just not how it works. Logan Paul has figured it out. And when he shows up, he is willing to take the chances. He's willing. I mean, that move when he got eliminated, or people thought he was eliminated, and he got all the way over to the announce table, and then he goes onto the barrier, and then he leaps onto the stairs so his feet never hit the floor. That was brilliant. But not a lot of guys can do that.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of people that I was watching ask me, they said, Coach, is there always a plan B if these decisions go wrong? Well, Vince, I go back to, I was there when they had the wrong winner. I think it was Batista and Shawn Michaels, and they hit the ground. And so Vince came down strutting to make an announcement, and he tore both quads off of his legs as the plan B. Sometimes there isn't a plan B, but you've got to make sometimes the elimination spectacular. So when you're talking about a 90-minute match, people don't just get bored out of their minds. And I thought that was a great spot when Logan Paul came in at 30. But I thought the crowd was a little disappointed because they expected The Rock to show up, and he did not.
Yeah, think about this, man. Think about this. Think of the spot that Logan Paul is put in. Just based on what Coach said, they're expecting The Rock. Here comes Logan Paul. Then on top of that, Coach, can you imagine if he F's up that move? Jumping back on the stage. Can you imagine? That says so much about the guy. 66,000 people there. God knows how many people are watching live. The reputation this dude has as the coolest kid on the bus. I mean, if he would have missed that spot, there are a lot of people, Coach, that would not have taken that chance. Man, that tells you a lot about that dude, man.
It does. It also tells you a lot about the trust that the agents and Triple H have in him, because a lot of what he did after those two spots, if he wouldn't have made it, what would they have done? It would have thrown everybody off because it was well choreographed at the end. And he got down to the final four. He was final 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And just really, really, really good. All right. So that's some insight. Jey Uso's your winner. He's going to go to the main event. Probably going to be. Let's go to the female side now. And it was kind of like a Rock situation, Vince, where for the last month, Becky Lynch is going to be there on the launch on Netflix. She's a no-show. And then we know Charlotte Flair is coming back. No Becky Lynch. Charlotte Flair comes in. She got her grand entrance. They all stopped. Here she comes looking like $1 million. She ends up getting the victory. It's a very safe play. But when you're a women's division that lacks severely star power, to me, you had to have Charlotte Flair win it. What was your take?
Man, Coach, I've got to tell you, they've got problems, and I hope they recognize these issues. Coach, this was I know they have preliminary matches. I know that. This was the first official match of the Royal Rumble. And Coach, they're counting down the crowd. They're getting everybody hyped up, everybody excited. 66,000 people strong. Coach, I thought for a second, I really did. I'm like, is there a problem with the audio? They were not responding to any of these women, Coach. Coach, the only people they were responding to were the legends and Charlotte, who came back, and Alexa Bliss, who all the other women, they were not responding at all. I'm talking about you could hear a pin drop. And man, and I'm watching this and I'm like, man, I thought nobody was over, but like now I know nobody's over. And listen, guys, if Vince is being bitter, this and that, no, man, go back and watch the responses of the Women's Royal Rumble, to that of the men's. Just go back. I mean, Coach, I could not believe the lack of response to some of these women.
I have been very, very open about my opinion about the women's division. The tough part is when you do these shows, if you criticize the women in any way, shape, or form, now you're misogynistic. You're all this. No, we look at it subjectively. And I felt the exact, and you and I, and we did this on purpose. I didn't want to talk to you during the Royal Rumble. I wanted to get your perspective, and you wanted to get mine. And the way that, let's say, the woman who won last year, Bailey, she was a non-factor in this one after 2 straight weeks saying, hey, I'm going to beat you, Rhea Ripley. Hey, I'm going to go out there and win 2 in a row.
And
it was a non-factor.
she got a non-response. Bailey,
Yes.
Bailey. I mean, I'm thinking of all people, bro. They didn't pop for Bailey.
The biggest pop I thought was Alexa Bliss.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
And the other problem is that Alexa Bliss came out. Is she in good shape? Yes. But her, Zelina Vega, they're so tiny, Vince. So when you have them in there and you want to make it believable, and you teach us all the time, reality based. Is there a universe where an Alexa Bliss would be able to eliminate somebody like a Nia Jax? No, that would never happen. And then you've got a Bianca Belair, and I feel horrible for her. She's been saddled with Jade for the last year. She comes out, and the crowd could have cared less. Then her tag team champion partner, Naomi, comes out, and it was crickets. I mean, crickets.
And Coach, and when you're talking about crickets, let's go one step lower. They didn't know who any of those NXT girls were. They didn't know who any, and which was a real weird choice of Perez. The
last 3 or 4, right?
Last 2. Charlotte eliminated her to win the Rumble. I'm like, what was that?
I think what they were trying to do is put one person over from NXT. That's what they were trying to do. And I think, and this also goes back, and we got a super sticker from Jude. I think this will play into it a little bit. Then I want to get your reaction. He says, Jay and Charlotte going over was a message for Triple H saying, this is my show now. Question to both, is Cena's heel turn the way to go? We'll get to that heel turn, but I want to address the Triple H part of that super sticker. That Triple H was always an NXT guy. Vince hated NXT because it wasn't his idea. And so I think last night having all of those girls and Jordan Grace coming over from TNA was Triple H getting in his own head about how popular he thinks the NXT stars are. They're just not right now. They're on the C-Dub. They're not on Netflix or on USA. Would you agree with that?
Well, Coach, here's why I agree, because here's something very interesting. You know, guys, again, go back and look at the Rumble if you think what I'm saying is not true. There were no response to any of the NXT girls. None of them. 0. Coach, Joe Henry got a response. A TNA guy got a response. Jordan Gracie, a TNA performer, got a response. They knew who they were, but yet they did not know who these NXT women were.
It's also, I think it was really well spotlighted. Joe Henry, who we had on The Last Word, was live on Stadium on Monday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern time. We had him on 2 weeks ago, the night after he won the World Championship. This is what we talk about, guys, when we're saying these superstars, they need to lift up their own brands. They can't let the WWE 100% be responsible for it. Joe Henry took his career into his own hands and utilized social media, music. He's been around for 15 years.
Yeah.
And he feels like a fresh superstar because of how he is arrogant in a good way. The crowd has something they can buy into. When he came out, man, they knew the music. They knew what he was doing. He looked great. He's got the hair and the whole deal. And the NXT stars. But then, Vince, you know how it is backstage. If you're an NXT star, and by the way, you're going to see more of it. They announced a new show called Evolve that's going to be on Tubi or something. And it's going to be like super, super green stars that are going to have the opportunity. It's kind of like Tough Enough. And I'm like, so we're going to have a 4th show on national television, and it's going to be green as grass superstars, but they're scared to death of speaking up, scared to death of saying to Shawn Michaels or any of these other agents down there, this is what I think I should be doing. It's almost a better avenue to do what Joe Henry did than it is to get signed by Evolve or NXT, because you don't have a voice. And then that happens when they bring you out. Crickets all day long.
Yeah, and hey, listen, Coach, NXT is a factory, and they're making and producing wrestlers that are exchangeable with one another, and that's what it's coming across. All these women, I mean, coaches, I'm watching. I don't watch NXT,
I
so
don't either.
as I'm watching all these NXT women come out. Not one of them is jumping off the page at me. Now, when Jordan Gracie comes out, okay, this is somebody. This girl will hurt you. She is a freak. She's athletic. She's a somebody. But when they paraded out that NXT champion, great, what was her name?
You're asking the wrong guy.
I'm like,
You're
what?
asking the wrong guy.
There's not, again, we talked about the it factor. It's not there, Coach. It's just not there.
I feel like that if I'm Becky Lynch, that she is trying to be strategic, and they just came out and they said that her and her husband, Seth Rollins, or boyfriend, whatever they are, have signed with Adventure Media. They have these new agents. She's in the Star Trek show now, and apparently she's doing another movie. But I also feel like this is strategic, because if I'm Becky Lynch, and maybe the executives at TKO don't give a damn, because we know what they've done with the UFC and we know what they've done with the WWE. But if you're talking about star power and I'm Becky Lynch and they won't give me what I want, I'm sitting there back watching that Royal Rumble match going, this is the best thing that could have happened to me.
I agree.
They need me.
I agree.
Right? They
Yes.
desperately need her to somehow get into the mix by Elimination Chamber. And why don't we have Becky and Charlotte at WrestleMania? Why can we not do that? The two biggest stars, perhaps of all time, and they can control that because they control the narrative and they control the storytelling.
Yeah.
But to not have Becky Lynch, what do you think is the biggest issue behind the scenes to advertise her, but then she doesn't show up for any of it this month?
The only thing I was thinking, Coach, is maybe they felt they needed to hold her off till WrestleMania. Maybe they felt
Really?
that's the only thing I could make sense out of. That's the only thing I could make sense out of. And, it's funny, man, because there were a lot of people beefing about, Charlotte winning this. Who in that ring is better than Charlotte? That's a no-brainer. There's nobody in that ring that can touch her. And you're going to put somebody else over? Nah, man. That was the right call, putting her over.
100%. And if I could give Nia Jax, not that her and I have ever gotten along, not that I like her character or anything, this would be the time. They try to book her as the dominant force in the women's division, but all she knows how to do is laugh and go, oh, you can't. How about you become an absolute killer? How about there's no more laughing? Yeah. How about you get rid of somebody and you point at him and you say, another one, another one, another one. But it's the same thing for years and years and years. Oh, you're too small. I don't feel you. How about they create this absolute monster? But they don't seem to want to do that, or she can't pull it off. Yeah. But I know what they were trying to do with Jordan Grace. I agree with you. I think she could be a somebody. She's a little bit later in her career, even though she's getting here at this time. So they've got to do something quick, in my opinion. But Nia Jax is no longer believable to me as a monster if you're going to continue to do the, oh, shucks, you're too small thing.
Yeah, I mean, Coach, I worked with Awesome Kong. And, they're the same size, but she was feared. I mean, she was the monster that you're talking about. Nia Jax is more of a valley girl, than a monster. And just one other thing about that Rumble, Coach. That kabuki-ish finish with everybody on the ring apron, that was horrible. Absolutely horrible, not believable, sloppy. That was not good.
I think you really saw the difference in talent level from the men's
Yes,
to
you
the
did.
women's. When
Yes,
you
you
put together a match, it's got to come off like these are absolute pros, that
Yes.
they've been there, and the timing
Yes.
has got to be spot on. You
Yes.
can't be looking through the side eye to go, all right, are they doing it? You just got to know. And the
Yes.
men, they absolutely did that. So congratulations to Jey Uso, Charlotte Flair for winning the Royal Rumble. They will both go on to main event WrestleMania. All right, we're about halfway home. This is the Coach and Bro Show. We are live every single Monday and Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time right here on the BTT YouTube channel. You can also catch us on demand if you don't catch us live. Brand new sponsor today, Mando at shopmando.com. Here's what we're talking about. Your starter pack. Get in very, very easy. Now, this is what it is. You got your deodorant stick or you have your deodorant in the tube. But then you get two other items and that you're choosing. I chose the bourbon leather because Vince is a bourbon leather guy. And then you see us both with these deodorant wipes. Use the code EXPLODES. You're going to get $5 off. That's the equivalent of 40% off your starter pack. Try it out. And then I promise you want to use this. And also, Vince, because they love me more than they love you.
I didn't get the soap. I don't have soap.
Hey,
Where's
I'm a
my
star.
soap?
I'm a star. I'm a star. I'm just so I'll make sure you get your own soap there,
Okay,
but it
thank you.
smells amazing.
And
And I know you're
the
super
code is
into it. You're
explode.
super into it.
The code's explodes, right?
Explodes. EXPLODES.
Yes.
ODES. By the way, let me see right there. So we'll get back to the Cena super sticker, but we just had our biggest super sticker we've ever had, Vince. So we got to read it right here, right now. I promise you we'll get to that Cena heel turn in a moment. But here is Ronnie, a $50 super sticker, Vince.
Unbelievable.
Let's go. He says, Jey Uso has negative aura. Saying oos and yeet more times than Vince says bro isn't a gimmick. And he uses catchphrase charisma to make up for his lack of authentic swag. Just feels off.
That's interesting.
It's an interesting take, Ronnie. Thank you very much for that. Last week, when his entrance was longer than his promo, that spoke volumes to me. And if I'm Jey Uso and I want to stay at that level, Vince, I'm working in the mirror every single day. He's got to be able to cut promos against these guys to make them believe he's on their level. I've said it for years. If you can't talk, you cannot get over. He's definitely over, but he wants to maintain that main event over, right?
Yes. Coach, can we bring up one more thing?
Yes.
And to me, this was perhaps the worst thing of the night. What? Coach, the downtime between these matches is freaking ridiculous, Coach.
Oh, my gosh.
It is I can't imagine watching a baseball game and it's 15, 20 minutes between innings. Coach, it's ridiculous. The downtime of you're just sitting there waiting for the next every package, everything they could throw in there. Coach, can you explain something to me?
Please.
Why are we doing that with this unbearable downtime between matches rather than just add another match or two? Why are we doing this?
Because this has always been the issue, is the production value is so good, and it is. They've got incredible producers, incredible editors, and they want to show that. For some reason, they live in this world, Vince. They had a 2-hour pre-show. So the crowd that was in the arena in Indianapolis, they were exhausted. There's a reason we didn't do a live watch along. I made that call. And I said, oh, absolutely not, because that'd have been 2 hours. And then the night lasted over 4 hours. I tweeted that the tag team match, you saw people walking to get snacks. And I felt bad for the machine gun guys and the four guys that was in there. It was a 2 out of 3 falls. It was a 2 out of 3 falls. And I was like, oh my God, we just watched. And they said, Coach, it wasn't over an hour. I said, guys, it was an hour and 40 minutes from the first entrance in the women's match until they crowned Charlotte the champion. An hour and 40 minutes. And then you still had Cody, KO, and then a 2-hour men's Rumble match. That's all you needed was those two matches and KO and Cody. I think right now people need to understand that just giving Peacock or just giving Netflix more is not better. Sometimes less is more.
Less is more. I can't tell you how many times I heard Vince McMahon say less is more.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And now we're adding a fourth show, so there's going to be a minimum. So we've got 3 hours on Netflix, 3 hours on SmackDown, 2 hours on NXT, and probably an hour or two on Evolve. So we're talking almost 10 hours when you've got a shortage of talent,
Yeah.
especially on the women's side. And so now you're gonna have 2-3 segment matches. Come on, it's just because the numbers are huge as far as the dollars, Vince, doesn't mean that's how you get people over or get the matches over.
Yeah.
They've got to really think about that and all get into a room and say, guys, let's recalibrate here. Let's recalibrate here. Let's get to the Cena thing right now, and then we'll end with Cody and KO because I know we had a super sticker and I want to reward that. So Cena is the second. He makes it to the final two. And then we saw something from him, Vince, that we've never seen before at a press conference. Normally, he's the, hey, Chris Van Vliet, hey, great to see you. What a night. It's nice to be back once every couple of months. That's not the Cena we got. It's evident to me that he is saying, I'm going to be serious. I want to have levels to my game. He took that opportunity to say he's going to be in the Elimination Chamber match coming up at their final pay-per-view before the WrestleMania. But then Vince, and this is where some hardcore fans have an issue with him, he then said, I've got to go shoot a movie in Hungary or whatever country it is. So I'm going to give the other 5 guys an opportunity to get ready, and I'm going to come back, but I'm coming to win. I used to travel with John Cena, and I've wrestled him twice in tables matches. I love this man as a human being. He's at his core a great human being. But what I saw right there might have been the most real John Cena that I've ever seen. What is your take after watching that?
Well, man, Coach, that's awesome that you had that opportunity because I never had that opportunity. And I have always said there are 2 people, I swear, just 2 people I wish I would have had the opportunity to work with, and I didn't. John Cena and Bray Wyatt. That's it.
Wow.
I say that all the time. And here's why I say, because Cena is a pro. Cena has been a pro since day one. I don't care whether you boo him, cheer him. He's a movie star, but I could care less. This man is a pro. And I remember, Coach, I'm going to go back. They had Austin Theory beat John Cena. Really? And what has Austin Theory done? You literally beat Cena, tarnished his legacy for no reason whatsoever. You did nothing with Austin Theory. So if that's sitting that way with me, I wonder how that's sitting with John Cena, because he did exactly what you wanted him to do. And in John Cena's own words, that was not what's best for business. And I said at the beginning of this show, when it comes to casuals is business. What is best for business is John Cena being in the main event at WrestleMania. That is best for business. Coach, what's best for business is CM Punk being in a main event at WrestleMania. CM Punk is not a young man. CM Punk is injury prone. CM Punk has never been in a main event at WrestleMania. So you've got 2 guys right now that desperately need to be in a main event at WrestleMania. I don't know how they're going to play that out, to be honest with you. But man, that Cena promo was very, very, very strong. And if he's working, bro, he needs to be up for an Academy Award this year.
There's no doubt about it. It is, and to answer the super sticker question, I don't know if this is Cena turning into a heel.
I don't think so.
As it's so much that Cena has realized, and when you start to look at mortality, and I say mortality in the wrestling business way, he's not going to be a guy like others, like a Ric Flair, who has continued to have, Ric Flair had 5 retirement matches, and he's been very open about why he had to continue, why he kept going. John Cena has been one of the very few that's been able to make it outside of the wrestling business and come and go. And that's okay. That's okay. Rock's done it. Logan Paul does it. And I think if you have enough star power, you can do it too. But for Cena, this is it. I don't think you're going to see him come back year after, let me come back. He might make appearances shaking hands and babies, but I think right now what we saw was a person who has given his blood, sweat, and tears. We're talking about a man, Vince, that one time on a 10-day tour to Europe, Ric Flair convinced him that you're the world heavyweight champion, so you got to be at the bar every single night, pay for it. Not only did he do that, but he was the first person on the bus in the morning to the gym hungover because he wanted to be the greatest pro that he could be. That's who John Cena is. And I think now he's looking at his mortality and saying, listen, I know I haven't been full-time for many years, but this is it. And when you've done 23, Vince, I was there day one. I started in 1999. I was 23 years old. And I was there when John Cena walked in the door as the prototype. And he tried everything. It is hard to watch, but it's also part of what we all go through is what's the ending? What am I doing afterwards? And that's serious John Cena right there.
The following announcement has been paid for by Behind the Turnbuckle Plus, the new pod order. BTT Plus. Yeah, it's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. Plus. Oh, it's extra content right here, chicos. Think about it. BTT Plus, taking over the pod game. Live Q&As, watch-alongs, new shows. BT, is that okay, Plus. Big Tommy? Enter the war room, turnbuckle style. Plus, it's the new way. We call it BTT Plus. The genesis has begun. The beginning of the new pod or BTT. Everybody wants to know what to do next. Well, just scan the code. The pod revolution starts now. The preceding announcement has been paid for by Behind the Turnbuckle Plus, new pod order.
Oh, do we have a lot to talk about tonight? What's good, everybody? Welcome into The Last Word. We are live on Stadium every single Monday night. I am the coach. We are part of the Behind the Turnbuckle, BTT universe. We're coming off the Royal Rumble. We're coming off a Monday Night Raw. We're going to break it all the way down as CM Punk tonight and Liv Morgan punch their ticket to the Elimination Chamber in 3 weeks. Now, as always, we got brand new sponsors. What a shock. Tonight, it's all about Mando and shopmando.com. They sent me the starter pack. I got to tell you right now, it's right here. You got your deodorant. You got your in the tube deodorant. Then you got 2 free things. How about the body wash? How about the deodorant wipes? And then the cleansing thing. Now, use the promo code EXPLODES, and we're going to give you $5 off. That's the equivalent to 40% off your starter pack. And I'm telling you, get rid of the funk. And in pro wrestling, there's a lot of funk. Now, I got the best damn crew in the game. If you want to be a part of the show, you can do that via a super sticker. My man Ryan in the chat. Jay needs a hot hip-hop single. You're damn right he does. And he needs some other things. We got a lot to talk about as the winner shocked the world 60-1, winning the Royal Rumble, and Charlotte Flair gets it done on the women's side. Let's bring in my 3 favorite pro wrestling minds in the business. And do not forget, if you want to buy your favorite WWE merchandise, the link is in the description, or you can use the QR code and get it done. Now, my crew is everywhere. Where do we stop? Who's got something on in the background? Who's got something on in the background? I'm hearing it. Raise your hand and own it. First and foremost, our numbers guy, Rafael Esparza, is live from the Super Bowl tonight in the Big Easy. Rafael, you're ending your day with us. How about that?
I know. It's lucky that shopmando.com is underneath my name. I can use that right now because I ran here to be on the show. So I couldn't. I needed to take my lumps, but I also needed to give some lumps back. We'll discuss why I want to give some lumps back sooner or later.
We're going to get to that. Now, she was on site at the Royal Rumble on Saturday night. If you saw her IG page, you saw her bragging. She predicted accurately. And we have a little something around here, Gabby, that we call the first 15 seconds to the person that deserves it. I'm just going to sit back and let you cut a promo on Rafael, because not only did you show up, but you showed out. The 15 seconds is yours.
So there's not much to say besides you're welcome, Rafael. Not only did I call it correctly, the person you picked didn't even show up. So I call that a win with a capital W, a capital I, and a capital N at the end of it. Period, blank, the end. I don't even want to hear it from you, because if she was in there and there was some kind of beef, whatever happening, then this could have been an interesting conversation. But she wasn't there, so I just won and you just lost, point blank. And if you say anything, it's an excuse, and that's what losers say, and I'm over it, and we're done.
Well,
That
in
is
my
awesome.
world,
That
the
is
gambling world, the sports world, the world that we live in now, that is called a push that you got, because my girl was not there. Becky was
Raphael,
yeah.
I would just
No,
eat
no,
it.
no, no, no.
You don't get 15 seconds, Raphael. I
Yeah.
do,
You
because
got
I
the 15
won. You
Raphael,
lost.
yeah, you know the rules, Raphael. You don't get to respond to the 15 seconds. We'll have yours in promo school coming up in about 30 minutes here on the show. Now,
I ran here for nothing.
this final man, over 32 years inside of the WWE, his mind for the wrestling business is second to none. Big Tommy C. Good evening, sir.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Gabby. Hello, Rafi. I hope you're okay, Raf. And boy, Coach, we have a lot to get over tonight, including the Rumble, tonight's Raw. So I'm handing it off to you to drive the bus and lead us there, brother.
All right, so you know where we're going to start. We're going to start where they ended on Saturday night, and that's with Jey Uso shocking the world. Raphael, you made the odds at sports books around the world, but I'm not starting. I'm starting with Gabby because you were there. Jey Uso 60-1. You heard Michael Cole say one of the biggest upsets in the history of the WWE, but now you got to press it forward. And tonight he comes out. It was 8:13 before he said a word, and I don't know if he forgot or he was soaking it in, but I was like, let's get to it. What did you make of how they pushed Jey Uso forward tonight? Because he's got to take another step if he wants to be on that superstar level.
I absolutely loved it. You could hear the shock, the energy in that, like in the arena when Cena fell, because he was hanging and you didn't know what was going to happen. Literally everybody, I looked around and people's mouths dropped because of the shock of it. I think that his promo tonight, the emotion that it hit when he had tears in his eyes, it actually resonated with me. And I'm not an emotional person. I have a little bit of a black heart, and I got emotional watching it. I thought it was amazing. Not only did he come out and yeet to his entrance, he stopped and he got it to go again, because that's how much the crowd loves him. There's been a lot of hate about him lately, saying he didn't deserve it. I think he deserved it, and I absolutely loved it, and I thought it was awesome.
Now, I know the crowd was into it, but Tommy, there's being into it and there's getting the show going. And this is always what they hype. Oh, the crowd is hyped. They're yeeting for 8 minutes. But I want to see him start to own his promos. I said this a week or two ago, that his entrance is longer than his promos. If he wants to be on the Roman Reigns, the Cody Rhodes, that level, he's got to make me believe in him that he can carry this company. Do you believe in him right now?
Well, you know, Coach, when you had me on Friday on Coaching Company, I questioned whether he had enough star power to carry one of those two nights of Cody and Jay instead of Cody and Roman. And yes, he needs to pick up his promo game big time. He stopped for a long time. He just looked lost at one point. Look, I've been ringside a long time, and I've seen a lot of guys cut a lot of promos. I'm seriously thinking he got lost and he forgot his promo, and he had to set and reset to get ready to say what he had to say. So the cue points come when Gunther comes in the ring. He needs to pick up his promo game big time here. I love the yeet and stuff, but now they're putting you on another level, and that level is Cody, Roman, Cena, and now you got to carry the ball and you got to run with it big time.
You can't be a one-trick pony. If you want to be, I go back, Raphael, to The Rock, to Stone Cold Steve Austin. He wasn't just Stone Cold. He went to the what's. He just kept getting his game. And he started tonight in his promo. And I know that you're running around interviewing Patrick Mahomes and hanging out with the big stars down there at the Super Bowl. But the one thing he didn't do was tell me why he not only deserves it, but what he's going to do. And Gunther comes out, and I'm sorry, but Gunther right now is not an entertaining star that I want to put up against Jey Uso. Why do you think, Raphael, at 60-1 and all those stars in the Royal Rumble, they decided to hand the ball to him?
Yeah, I'm completely shocked that they handed the ball, even if they knew that he was going to go against Gunther, because Gunther just takes away his pop right now, if that's the match. I was doing a couple of shows today, and we were talking about wrestling, and they asked me, does Jey Uso's 60-1 win bigger than Brock Lesnar losing or beating Undertaker in WrestleMania? Which one's the bigger shock and awe? I still think it's Brock winning against Undertaker. They all disagreed. And it was a younger crowd I was talking to today. So I guess they probably don't realize that. They all said Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble is the biggest thing they've ever seen in WWE. So they're all pumped for it. I just think it's bad placement if they're going against Gunter. I think that's going to suck all the wind and all the energy that he has going right now.
And Gabby, let me come back to you because you were there, and I think sometimes the WWE gets lost in the reaction to guys, and they stop trying to push the storylines forward. If you don't have a great storyline, then you're going to fall off the cliff very, very quickly. What do you think Jey Uso needs to do moving forward? He's got 3 months. I cannot imagine they're going to put him as a final match on one of the nights of WrestleMania. Do you?
Honestly, if you're talking about the emotion of the fans, then it can be done if the story is correct. I really do think that. I know that sounds a little crazy right now, but I feed off emotion because that's how I like to watch pro wrestling. I don't have your kind of experience. I don't have Tommy's experience or even Raphael's in, you know, maybe was he nervous, whatever, because I watched that promo tonight and I saw it very differently than you guys did. I saw it as, wow, he was so emotional. He couldn't even catch his breath, and him talking about being in the business for 15 years. And like, let me fast forward to what I did with my career in the bloodline. And I didn't believe in myself enough to be a singles champion. Makes me believe in him to be a singles champion because I relate to those kinds of things. So maybe I see it a little bit differently, but I do believe in him. And everyone being angry that it wasn't Cena that won and it was so shocking. Cena doesn't need to win the Royal Rumble to get a match at WrestleMania and have it mean something. Jey does. And why not let it be his time? We still have some time to build up to it. I believe it can happen. And I want to believe in it because I believe in Jey and I like him a lot.
The way that they ended up doing it. And there's a lot of rumors going around, Tommy, that after the Rumble on Saturday night, that Drew McIntyre, who we all love and we all believe in, and this guy should be a top 2 or 3 superstar in the business, he wasn't even, unless I missed it, I watched the whole show. Drew McIntyre wasn't even there tonight. So I tend to believe that he was pissed off for somebody going into business for himself. So when you're pushing it forward, and I was in 2 Royal Rumbles, they told us after we were done, how do you take your own storyline forward? Well, how do we not move forward without a Roman Reigns? And we're going to talk about the legends in 35 minutes, but no Drew McIntyre tonight. Seth didn't work tonight. He's got a match coming up in a couple of weeks. There was a lot of guys I wanted to see that I simply did not see on the show tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Drew himself. I mean, what does this guy have to do to get into a main event for a championship match? I just don't understand. He's got all the goods. He can cut a promo. He's a heel. He can work in the ring, and this is where you get stuck when you have a guy like Gunther, who's the champ. He jumps in Jey Uso's face and he says, "Well, if we're going to go at it one more time, I'm going to be all over you every day." This storyline, and you said it, Coach, they got 3 months. They better pick up this storyline big time like last year, because last year you had pros doing the storyline and you were riveted every week watching what Rock was going to do, Roman and Cody, through social media, through the show, any way possible to elevate that storyline. I want to see them elevate, and it looks like it's going to be Gunther and Jey at WrestleMania the way this is being played out, right? I mean, unless I'm wrong, it could be Cody, but I think it's going to be Gunther and Jey. Man, and they've gone at it 3 times already or twice already, and Jey has lost. So Jey could play the part as, I'm coming for you. Let's do this, but you have to have some sort of storyline.
All right, speaking of storyline, I got to come back to Gabby because you were there and you saw the Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. How in the world do they even think about bringing Kevin Owens out tonight at the end of Raw when he takes one of the worst bumps we've ever seen and his body was all twisted up and everything? They don't think about the details. Kevin Owens should not have shown his face tonight. What was that?
That was actually insane when I saw him. It took me a second because I really thought it was ending after the match with Sammy and Punk. And
I
then
turned it off. Yeah.
yeah, and then he came out and I was like, didn't he just like die? Did he die and come back to life? Because that match, the reaction to what had happened in the arena was like, holy shit. Like, that was an epic match. And it almost takes away from how good it was because now we see him on Monday and it's kind of like, oh, okay, did it really mean anything? Or did it even hurt as much as it looked like it did? Like, it kind of sucks that they did that. I'm sure they did that for a reason with him coming back and what he did. But for sure, I'm a little let down that happened because he shouldn't have shown his face at all tonight. You're 100% correct. And we don't even know what's going on with Cody because he wasn't even mentioned at all tonight. So it's one of those things that's up in the air now. And we're kind of just sitting here like, Well, we saw that crazy match. They put their bodies through it, and now Kevin's all of a sudden right back, and we see him at the end of Raw. It doesn't make much sense to me.
Raphael, you were on the last word Saturday night. You got about 30 seconds right now with how he ended with Cody Rhodes and the fact that he didn't go to the press conference. We didn't push that story ahead. I don't want to hear that he's a SmackDown superstar. Tell me what happened to Cody.
Yeah, I think they just put him on a SmackDown, and we're going to see him on SmackDown. That's why he probably wasn't mentioned. But how does KO walk out today? Just shocks me, because what we saw, I still thought his head was in the ladder. That's what I still picture him. How does he walk out today? Which just totally blows my mind.
It really, really was. All right, we're just getting started here on The Last Word. We are live every single Monday night. Thank you to the good people at Stadium and all of their platforms. You can find us on Amazon Prime Video, on DirecTV, on YouTube TV, Roku TV, and much, much more. When we come back on the other side, Gabby was there. She called the winner. But what does it mean now that Charlotte Flair has won the Royal Rumble, comes out tonight, and gets booed out of the building? We discuss that next. It's The Last Word, and we are live as a vibe on Stadium. Stick around. All right, you degenerates on our YouTube page and continue to watch through. And Gabby, you sent in some pictures and videos. I want you to tell the good people at home, what was it like to be in the building Saturday night? Almost 70,000 people. I said there were times like the tag team match where they could have cared less, but when it was the hottest, what did you feel in there?
It was an amazing feeling. Like the energy was epic, and I will always say this: this was my first Royal Rumble that I've ever been to on site. I've been to Manias before, I've been to Raws and Smackdowns and stuff, but like this, and this is my favorite show, and this is why, because I feel like everyone's at the edge of their seat, kind of thinking about what legends are going to show up, who's going to pop in, what returns are there going to be. So it's just super exciting because you don't know what to expect. And everyone was just happy to be there. Like, I feel like it was a really good sense of people just being happy to be pro wrestling fans. And like, I didn't even tell you this and we hadn't talked about it, but like even the airport and like on my plane and like my plane ride home, everybody was there for WWE. Everybody was, they actually said on my plane on the way home, like, on like over the speakers, like the stewardess was like, and if you're here for WWE, like we love your titles, but if you could please put them somewhere to like I'm laughing because it's ridiculous. Like people are just walking around with these things. Everyone yeeted when my plane landed. Like the plane landed, instead of clapping, people just were yeeting. Okay.
Stop it.
Wow.
Everyone yeeted.
Oh
And
my gosh.
this is insane. This is a community of people that get it. And I was just dying laughing because I'm like, I am now a part of it, and it's insane to me as well.
It's my favorite night of the year. When they told me, Tommy, the first time they said, Coach, you're going to be in your first, and then I got to be in two. It was amazing because the choreography and 30 people trying to do all business at the same time. Yeah. It's the best night of the year, Tommy. You got about 20 seconds.
Yeah, man, I've been ringside for a lot of them. I remember the San Antonio one with Stone Cold Steve Austin, going through there, being there for rehearsals, man. And these guys worked their butt off, especially guys like Patterson back in the day. They couldn't lay out better matches than that. And I love the Rumble.
Yeah, I still owe Hardcore Holly a kick to the thigh. He almost literally kicked me out of the Royal Rumble. If you guys have ever been around Hardcore Holly, or you guys know who he is, maybe the most dangerous, scary man that's ever walked God's green earth. And he liked me. He liked me. We're back live in 5 seconds. Okay, welcome back, everybody. It is The Last Word live on Stadium all over this great country of ours. You can find us every single Monday night. We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube page. We have 3 big shows: sports betting, pro wrestling, combat sports. We've got it all at the Behind the Turnbuckle YouTube page. All right, let's bring our crew back in. And we've talked about the men's Royal Rumble winner, but you called it. You're excited. You talked trash on Raphael, but now we got to talk about what it means, Gabby. And that's that Charlotte Flair, arguably the greatest female superstar of all time. She called herself tonight the greatest superstar of all time. She's one of the very few women to ever main event WrestleMania. She comes back after over a year on the shelf. And I think the idea was the promo was to start as a heel and then say, hey, this meant something to me. But the crowd wanted no part of it. What did you make tonight that the crowd absolutely booed her out of the building?
It's insane to me. I don't really understand it. Like you could actually see her trying to talk about this is pro wrestling is my life and I have a passion for it and I love it. And this was the hardest year of my life, getting injured and trying to come back. And she comes back, and immediately before she even talks, she's getting booed out of the building. And listen, she's supposed to be a heel. She's supposed to be hated. It makes sense. But what I don't understand this absolute hatred for her when she's so good and she elevates people that she's in the ring with and she's needed on this roster, because that energy on Raw tonight between her and Rhea and those reactions is some of the loudest and the most I've given a shit about someone being in the ring with Rhea on Raw since we've seen anything so far. So you let me know how that's bad for business, because it's not. Rhea is so over. Who else on that roster right now could go into WrestleMania with her and even make it an interesting match? There's not one person I can name for you, and that is why Charlotte Flair is needed back. And she said it herself. I'm going to go to NXT tomorrow. I'm going to go Friday and see Tiffy as well, see who inspires me the most, whatever it is. Because guess what? Charlotte Flair is needed to headline WrestleMania. She is needed for these matches. And guess what? These women want her there too. So stop hating on her because she's good. It's so annoing. There's
Well,
not anybody else doing it. Get over it.
But these are what the marks do, and this is like, when I was there. You could be, here's the problem with marks is they go, and I already saw it in the chat. Oh, we're sick and tired of her. What? She's been gone for over a year. We have not
Right.
seen her for
Right.
a year. So Tommy, the Royal Rumble match, and I want to be as kind as I could possibly be. It really lacked energy because there's not 15 women that you can say win and you're going to care about them at WrestleMania. The men, oh, it was fire all night, but the women, when she came out, it was like another level, and the crowd really didn't give a shit about anybody but Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, and maybe Liv, but she was one of the first two to go in. I agree with Gabby. The whole hating, but there's a way to boo a heel and to have Charlotte. And this is the one thing that I wish Charlotte would have worked on. It was not a great promo for her tonight. Let's just be honest. It was not a great promo. She repeated herself. And when you're a big time heel and you've won 14 championships, there's a way to say, I don't care about you. This meant something to me, Tommy, but I don't care about what you're saying right now because I'm so happy to be back. I wish you would have stuck with that.
Yeah, she should have stood there. I think she got a little lost. I think the reaction of the crowd caught her big time and like, wow, they're really booing me. I've been gone over a year. I haven't hurt anybody. I come in, I win the Royal Rumble, and you're booing me because I'm so good. That is ridiculous. Look, the only other woman superstar I could probably put on her level and Rhea's level is Bianca. I think Bianca and Rhea could have a real banger of a match. But man, when you say Rhea and Charlotte at WrestleMania, that's another level stuff. Like we've been talking about, we're talking about the main event of the biggest show of the year, WrestleMania. And when they put you in that position, you're expected to carry the ball and run with it. And Charlotte can do that. I think she's a little conflicted about her character right now, the way the crowd is reacting to her. And we've only seen her twice. We've seen her Saturday night, and we saw her tonight. Actually, Alexa Bliss got a bigger pop than Charlotte, and I was shocked at that.
She better call The Rock, because The Rock went through this same thing when he came back a year ago, and they pivoted and they made it work. Raphael, let me come over to you. The lack of Becky Lynch, and we joke and we know that Gabby's talking trash and all that, but when we get down to serious business, they need Becky Lynch in this women's division. And the fact that she's not, if I'm Becky Lynch and I'm watching that Royal Rumble Saturday night, I'm just counting my money, because if they're dumb enough to say they don't need Becky Lynch back after that Royal Rumble match, then the execs and Triple H don't know what they're doing. There's a severe lack of star power for the women. Do you agree?
100%. And I was hoping you guys were saying Becky came out today, and I can say, ooh, maybe some of my comeback of Gabby can go one-on-one with that when they brought her back on Monday. But I'm going to jump back on what Gabby said. They were booing her. I just came back from the Superdome, and they booed Patrick Mahomes. Sometimes people just hate the really good players. They booed Patrick Mahomes. They booed Charlotte. You know why? Patrick Mahomes, best football player right now. Charlotte Flair, best female wrestler right now. Sometimes when you're the best, you get booed.
Tommy brought up Bianca Belair, and sometimes if you don't book Gabby, women or men in a certain way, the crowd does not give a damn. I said this for months, that when they put Jade with her, that was going to bring her down, her personality, her charisma, her style. And when she came out at the Royal Rumble, nobody cared. And now she's stuck with Naomi. I'm tired of them putting her into, and I guarantee you she's tired of it too. What do you make of how they've booked what I consider to be what could be a top 2 or 3 female superstar in the WWE?
Yeah, it's a shame because when Bianca was over, she was very damn over. Like she would come out, her music would hit, you would hear the little slap of her, braid, and it was like the pop was huge for her, and she's such a mega baby face. And now that whole storyline with Jade and Naomi, it's kind of fell through the cracks because Jade didn't even show up at Rumble. We don't even know what happened. Do we even really care anymore who attacked Jade? Because I really don't care. I don't give a shit at the end of the day. It's kind of lost in the sauce at this point. I think the best thing for Bianca is that she needs to go back to being. I think she's way more money being a singles on a singles run. They got to figure out what's going on with her and Naomi. I think maybe with a little bit of Jordan Grace hugging Naomi and Bianca getting pissed off, maybe they'll go that way with something like that. I don't really know, but we need Bianca back on her singles run because I don't even think we've ever gotten her and Rhea in that massive kind of match before because I remember watching her reality show and she said she wanted it to be her against Rhea and it never happened. So that would be super interesting. They have a lot of history together and it would be something I would watch at WrestleMania and be very happy about.
Can I just say this? And I don't want to be negative,
Oh God.
but when I oh my God. When I listen to Rhea, and I know she's over like Rover, I know she is, but somebody's got to work with a dialect coach with her because when she's in there cutting a promo, it's like nails on a chalkboard the way she says every word in the English vocabulary. Does it bug anybody else the way that Rhea Ripley talks? Anyone?
Yeah, me. We've talked about this a million times on our show, Coach. Somebody needs to sit back and say, "Hey, chill." Nobody, you don't have to scream at the crowd anymore. You don't need to do that. Just talk to everybody. You will get your point across. But when you scream and then you become with that Australian accent, it's very annoying, coach. And I agree 100%. And we talked about this before, but seems like somebody in the back is not listening at all because you don't have to scream to get your point across. Ask Roman Reigns, he'll tell you.
Well, the chat is agreeing with me completely. Raphael, though, let's end this segment on a positive. Give me a name from the female Royal Rumble match that you thought, because this is about a night, and for anybody who doesn't understand, being in the Royal Rumble is about being able to win even when you lose. Who did you thought had at least a moment that they won in that match outside of Charlotte Flair?
The biggest pop, Alexa Bliss. I mean, I still can't believe the pop that she got when she came back with the Stranger Things lettering on her, with her name popping up to her jacket with the fiendship on there. I can't believe how the crowd just reacted when she came out, and she loved it. I think she was more surprised at the pop she got. So I'm saying Alexa Bliss, even though she didn't win it and got exit out early, she won the Royal Rumble.
Well, I'll say this too, Gabby. I'm going to come over to you. And a lot of people call me a Nia Jax hater. And when you become a one-trick pony, I'm going to call it like I see it. And I would love for them to if Nia Jax is going to come into the Royal Rumble match and be a killer and be the beast that they want her to be. I'm tired of the laughing. How about you come in and take your job seriously? And they do the whole thing where they jump on her. And she goes, "Rawr!" How about we stay serious instead of laughing at people, pointing at people, and then all of a sudden, oh, now I get tossed out. I want them to severely change that character for something they've never done with her. And maybe it'll start to not annoy me so much. You?
I mean, I feel like a lot of things annoy you, but I will say I will say, I think it's just kind of her shtick in a way, and like it doesn't bother me as much because maybe because I am a girl, girls that piss me off the most are the girls that do the mean shit and laugh about it. Like it actually makes me angrier. If you're all about business and you do that kind of stuff and you're not laughing, I get what you're saying. It pisses me off more that she laughs, but it would be scarier if she didn't laugh. But also, if they're trying to make, and because I know Tommy had mentioned this, I don't even know if it was before the break or not, if they're trying to make the history of Tiffany possibly with Nia and that be something happening at WrestleMania, they're going to have to make Nia a little bit different because people don't like her because they're annoyed by her as opposed to being scared of her. And they should be scared of her because of the strength that she has and what she does.
Yes.
And I feel like they're not scared. They're just pissed off at her, and she's annoying and she's mean. But she needs to get a little bit scarier because she has that in her. And that's what I would want to see moving forward to really make people be sold on her.
Thank you. And she's been around enough, Tom. You got about 30 seconds.
Yep.
She's been around enough that if they flipped her back to, and somebody in the chat said she was over as a heel, yes, but make her an even nastier heel than she's ever been. She's pissed off that all these new girls and all these that's what I would love to see. And just say, you know what? I'm going to be a buzzsaw and just ball over everybody in the women's division. I could get into that. You, Tommy?
Yeah, I can get into that, but I'm going to give you a long shot, Coach. Sonya Deville, people are sleeping on her, right? They got her in this goofy PFC, the goofiest tag team name I ever heard in my life. She has a great look. She's a worker in the ring. She can cut a promo, but they just put her in the back weeds with Baszler and Starks, or whoever that other one is. Sonya Deville could be a legitimate top woman superstar.
See, Tom, you're going to get me in trouble now because now you're going to make me comment on the other two in that. And what I'm not going to do it. We've got to work on the style. We got to work on the style. We got to work on the style. The style with the rest of the PFC or whatever they call them is absolutely atrocious. Shayna Baszler, I mean, let's stop with that. Let's stop with that.
I agree.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, when they came running down, I said, please, please. Producer man just said, don't. All right.
You didn't like the face paint? The face paint at the Rumble?
It's time to go to promo school. When we come back, we're halfway home live on Stadium. All right, you degenerates out there tonight. We are brought to you by Deemer Box, the most hardcore, filthy. Look at this. One of my best buddies bought this. DeemerBox.com. I know that Gabby, you are you like to go camping and fishing. You're an outdoorsman. Yes.
Can you tell?
Yeah, I can. I mean, you scream this. Go to DeemerBox.com and use the code Coach10. You get 10% off site wide. So other things that happened at the Royal Rumble, and Gabby, I'll start with you. The tag team match. I firmly believe that the night was like 4.5 hours. You were there. It's like nauseingly long. We didn't need the tag team match. We need the two matches and the ladder match. That would have been plenty. Did you feel that there in the building?
1,000%. Unfortunately, that was when people were going to the bathroom, buying the stuff at the concession stands and walking around. And I hate to say those kinds of things, but it was packed on the concourse when that match was going on. And something else that pissed me off, like that match you threw in on Royal Rumble, but you couldn't find a match for Rhea. You couldn't find a match for Tiffany. You couldn't find a match for some of these champions to build up on and have a match like that on a big show like this instead of that kind of tag team match. It was something that I was a little upset about, and I don't really think the fans were into it either, unfortunately.
They weren't, and they made it, Raphael, a 2 out of 3 falls match on top of that. What are we doing?
Yeah, for the betting world, people wanted refunds. We didn't know we were betting 2 out of 3 falls. Either did I, so I had to look at that one. But yeah, 2 out of 3. Give me a break. I could have probably had dinner and then came back and watched the end of it.
Tommy, both Royal Rumble matches lasted over an hour and a half. Went from like first person to it being finished. It used to be when I was in it 2 minutes in between. Thank God they went down to like 90 seconds. You're like, holy cow. They've got to figure this thing out because a 4.5 hour, 5 hour night, and then you had a 2 hour pre-show. No wonder people are dead by the end of it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Coach. You called it, man. When you do stuff like this, in TV, you gotta move, man. You gotta keep things moving. And you're right. That everybody thought that tag match was gonna be a banger. It wasn't, as everybody said. They thought it was gonna bring the house down. It was gonna be the match of the night, and it was none of that at all. And then they threw a curveball at you and bringing out Street Profits. It was unbelievable.
We're back in 5 seconds. Okay, welcome back, everybody. We're halfway home, having a glorious night recapping the Royal Rumble and also Monday Night Raw. Kind of more the Rumble than we are Raw because nothing really progressed tonight other than the fact that CM Punk beat Sami Zayn. Pretty good main event, if I'm being honest. And then Liv Morgan had a pretty good match, too. They both qualified for the Elimination Chamber coming up in 3 weeks. Excuse me. We know that John Cena will be in it. We're talking about the Legends coming up in about 15 minutes from right now. But every single week, my crew, Gabby, Tommy, Raphael, whoever's here, they like to get things off their chest. In wrestling, we call it a promo. So let's go to promo school. right, Big Tommy, I'm going to start with you tonight because you're going to talk about a guy who has perhaps the worst punches in the business today. But you're not talking about his punches. Where are you going? Who are you cutting a promo on today, Big Tommy C?
My promo's on Seth freaking Rollins. Let's go back to Saturday night, right? Who eliminates Seth freaking Rollins? It was CM Punk, right? That was 48 hours ago, right? We're come to Raw. He has his entrance and he is happy as can be. Why are you happy coming into the ring? You're dressed in this crazy outfit you had on. You know what I would have did? I would have came faded up, him standing in the ring and him starting off saying, "I'm pissed off. I'm tired of this. Punk's doing stuff to me like this and that." But he's happy. He's happy. He loves to hear people sing his song. That's not realism. That doesn't sell the fans on what Seth Rollins really is. Then he brings Sammy out, right? He brings Sammy out, and then he's hurrah rah Sammy. You know what the best part of it was? It was Michael Cole saying this guy at Rumble was ballistic, and now he's Mr. Happy. That's some crazy stuff. I don't know if people talk to him about this, but why would you come out happy after you got eliminated at the Royal Rumble by your nemesis CM Punk? I just don't understand what his thinking is. I get the music, I get people, singing with him and everything, but it has to come down of realism. If it's me, I'm friggin' pissed, man, and I'm talking and I'm telling everybody where I want to go. Punk better watch out. I'm coming for you. But no, he was Mr. Happy tonight, Coach.
All right. Well, it's all about details. And you don't even have to be a genius. I mean, he's been around for well over a decade. He needs to be thinking about this kind of stuff. And tonight, he just did. It was a complete disconnect. When you're tearing out Roman Reigns on the outside, you're fighting with CM Punk. There is no way you're coming out. And then he didn't even talk about the Rumble to the very last thing in the promo before he brought in Sami Zayn. That should have been the first thing of why he was pissed off. Pay attention to details. Seth Rollins, you're better than that. All right. Now, I love when Gabby cuts me a promo. I have no idea where she is going tonight. Gabby, who are you cutting a promo on?
I think I got to be cutting a promo on my guy Logan Paul tonight because the man comes out number 30 at the Royal Rumble. You had to hear in the arena when people were like, "Oh, who's coming out at 30? Is it Randy Orton? Are we getting a return? Are you whatever?" And it's fucking Logan Paul, who everybody hates so much. And he comes out. Not only does he come out, he eliminates AJ Styles, who everybody's excited to see. He's just so hated, pure hatred for this man. We see him again on Raw tonight. He gets the distraction, helps the New Day so that they beat Rey Mysterio, who he has to have a match against next week to qualify for the Elimination Chamber. He is just hitting on the best cylinders as being this massive heel. He is just doing it correctly. It's so natural for him. Everybody hates him for the right reasons. He's not getting booed just because he's getting booed like poor Charlotte that we're talking about. He's getting booed because they just hate everything about him. And because of Logan Paul is why we see things happening like what we saw with I Show Speed, who literally that bump he took at the Rumble was one of, I had friends that were talking to me about it today, sending me the video that don't watch pro wrestling, Coach. And that's what is needed for these things. 300 million views on the clip of Braun Breaker literally snapping that poor guy in half in the middle of the ring. It was one of the holy shit moments I've ever seen in person in my life. And it's amazing. And as much as you hate these influencers, they get things over. And this is what was needed. And Logan Paul opened the door for that, in my opinion. And he's fucking awesome. And I love that guy.
He really, really, really is, and I tip my cap to I Show Speed. He's couldn't. If you looked at Logan Paul's Instagram page, when I Show Speed got tossed by Otis onto the announce table, he took a huge slice out of his leg. I'm surprised he didn't break his arm because when you take a spear. And the worst one I ever took was Goldberg. You got to get your body completely around and get your arms out to the side and let them take your midsection. He did none of that because he's not a trained performer. And so my guess is if he comes out and said, "I have a broken arm," I would absolutely understand that. But tip of the cap, and hopefully they give him a nice little bump. He should get a nice little check for that from the WWE if he did 300 million
Insane.
plus views on that. Absolutely insane. All right, I'm going to cut my promo tonight on the creative team, on Triple H, on the what are you going to do now? Because you have John Cena come out at the press conference and for no reason whatsoever says, I'm going to the elimination chamber and I'm coming to win. I've earned it. 23 years of loyalty. I've earned it. I get that. And he's well over 40 years of age. I get that too. But guess who's never main evented WrestleMania like John Cena has done on several occasions? CM Punk. And you can say what you want, but since he came back from AEW, he has been a model citizen and he has gotten Drew McIntyre over. He's gotten Seth Rollins over. And if anybody has earned it or deserves it, it's CM Punk. So what are you going to do now, WWE? You've got Elimination Chamber. Both dudes are in that match. Only one can win and go to WrestleMania. You've got to decide. Would you rather see John Cena get number 16, 17, whatever he's at? Or would you rather see CM Punk headline WrestleMania against Cody Rhodes, which something 5 years ago when they were both in AEW, we never thought we would see? But you've done it to yourself. Where are you going to go now? That is the question. Raphael, let me come over to you. Who do you think ultimately they're leaning towards when it comes to? Because to me, it's no contest. With no Drew McIntyre there tonight, he's either in the doghouse or he's just pissed. So to me, it's got to be about CM Punk and John Cena. Where do you think they'll head with Elimination Chamber?
I think CM Punk. I think they want to see the AEW rematch of CM Punk and Cody Rhodes in WrestleMania. I think that's what they're going to lean into. But I feel bad for the. Well, I shouldn't feel bad. You're 100% correct. They're in that situation because they're the ones that put themselves in that situation. So I'm hoping to see another organization rematch of Cody and CM.
The other thing tonight, Gabby, that we didn't hear anything about, we didn't see, we didn't hear from, and this is why the Kevin Owens thing is so crazy. Cody won the match. Cody was standing on the announce table up like that, but yet Cody was so hurt he couldn't go to the press conference. But the guy that he slammed through the ladder shows up tonight on Monday Night Raw. Have you heard anything about the nature of the injury to Cody Rhodes, like the real nature of it?
No, I mean, we haven't heard anything. So I'm curious to see what they're going to say about that moving forward. He is on SmackDown, so hopefully Friday there'll be an update. Maybe they'll do breaking. Nick Aldis will break some news ahead of SmackDown. Like they like to do on social media or something like that and talk about it. But we don't know. And like you said, it is wild that Kevin Owens showed up on Raw tonight. I'm still shocked by it. It doesn't make any sense. He shouldn't have been on the show, but. I don't know, and I'm curious to see what they're going to say.
Tommy, somebody in the chat said, "Don't you forget that Chad Gable got shot in the head and
Yeah.
showed up the next week." I think sometimes, and this was an issue when I was there. When you're on 52 weeks a year, and you're like, if you guys met the writing team you'd be amazed. You'd be like, wait, that kid's 22, that kid's 23. They write like they're writing a movie. Like, oh, when the movie's over, you go to the next movie. But Tommy, this is a continuation of a storyline. And how in the world Kevin Owens shows up tonight? How in the world? And how about Adam Pearce saying, "Oh, the transfer window's closed, but I got one deal done before"? It's not real, Adam. It's not real. The transfer portal window's not real. Stop it. So Cody Rhodes is a SmackDown guy, Tommy, but you can't talk about him tonight. It's got to be the biggest stories in the WWE, and Cody Rhodes is arguably one of the top 2 or 3 stories right now.
Yeah, and if you don't bring Cody on tonight or even talk about it, that's ridiculous. Jackie Raymond reported it right after the Rumble's over. I don't care if he's on SmackDown. I don't care if he's on NXT. He's the champ. He's the flag bearer of this company, and you can't even talk about Cody Rhodes tonight. We're going to wait until Friday. And it's all about the realism, right? KO comes out tonight and he pile drives Sami Zayn. The guy got his head put through a ladder. He's bleeding profusely. He's like laid out. We all thought he was dead, but he's not dead enough to come back out and pile drive Sami Zayn, is he? That's what we talk about. It's the little details of telling a story. Why would Kevin Owens be there if he was that hurt? It just makes no sense at all. Why are they not reporting on Cody when he is the champ? He is the flag bearer of this company. It's crazy.
It really, really is. And Raphael, as we head now, we know that 3 weeks leading up to the Royal Rumble, that the ratings on Netflix, they were falling off a cliff. We're talking 37%, another 25%. So now they, for some reason, made WrestleMania the end of April, not the beginning. So we got 3 full months. And I'm going to be very, very interested to see. And we've got it coming up in about 5 minutes. Without some of these stars showing up on Raw, how do they maintain this momentum that they have coming out of the Royal Rumble when a lot of these guys are either shooting the movie in Hungary, not showing up because of storyline? I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think they're really going to struggle. That's my gut.
Yeah, we talked about this last week that maybe the Raw would be really a good one to try to get the ratings up. Maybe Becky would have came back or something to get the ratings up, and it looked like it was a complete dud of what I've been seeing and hearing and reading about. So I'm a little bit shocked on what they are doing over for Netflix. But maybe the WWE writers should write maybe movies for like Halloween, because everyone comes back in the movies of Halloween and Scream movies. Maybe that's what the writers are doing.
That's very, very true. All right, a good vibe so far tonight. Still to come here on the show. What about the legends? What is the immediate future going to be for them? We're talking John Cena. What's next for him? We're talking Roman Reigns. They said tonight that we're not going to see him for a while. What? It's the road to WrestleMania. And what is true about the rumors we're hearing about Drew McIntyre? And did somebody really go into business for themselves at the Royal Rumble? I hope not, but it certainly feels that way. It's the official start to the road to WrestleMania, and we could not be more excited. It's the last word, and we are live on Stadium. All right, you OGs out there, I do want to say a quick thank you. Our live number tonight is absolutely insane for those of you watching on our YouTube channel, on social media. So thank you very much for that. Gabby, let me come back to you, because as we now push forward, and you said how much you enjoyed the Royal Rumble, in person, what do you think was the one thing that surprised you the most, that maybe somebody at home watching right now who's never been to a show, that you would say, you got to go because of this?
I just always say this. I think I'll say what I experienced my first ever live show that I think people at home, if you've never been to one, you don't get to experience. And that's like the sounds of them hitting the ring and how hard they hit it is kind of like a crazy thing. So like you think you watch these injuries at home and it's like, oh, it is whatever it is. But like I think you don't understand the impact of it until you're there and the whole crowd is reacting to something with you. It's like the emotion. It's hard to explain. And it's crazy. I sound like a fangirl like talking about it, but a lot of things don't get over on TV because I had people texting me like, oh, when Nikki Bella showed up at number 30 for the Women's Royal Rumble, they were like, is that even a big deal? And I said, yeah, the crowd popped huge for Nikki while being there.
Really?
Yes.
They did?
Yes. It was, people were very excited to see Nikki Bella. And I think people at home didn't realize that people were actually that hyped to see her, but it was a loud pop for Nikki. And so everyone's saying like, oh, nobody really cared. It's like, no, they cared. So, you know, people that are sitting at home that were like, it's not a big deal. Like that was a good number 30 for them to have. Everyone thought it was going to be Becky. And they were like, if it's not Becky, people are going to be upset. They weren't that upset to see Nikki. And she looked phenomenal.
Oh, I mean, I've always said I traveled with Cena for a while, I would say. And I told him this. I was honest. I said, I cannot believe, you make her sign a 62-page thing just to live in your house. And then he called off the wedding. I mean, there are guys that would cut off their left leg to marry Nikki Bella. And
no, didn't she call it off? She called it off.
No.
I don't know. That's what I watched. I watched Total Bellas. Just saying.
Yeah, Total Bellas did tell the story that he called it off. It was never going to happen. It was never going to happen.
I thought it was funny that the two returns were them, by the way. I was like, that's got to be an interesting reunion backstage.
All right, we're back live in 5 seconds. Okay, welcome back, everybody. It's The Last Word live on Stadium and all of the platforms. You can find us on Amazon Prime, YouTube TV, Direct TV, Roku TV, and I got the best damn crew. Gabby's here, Big Tommy C, Raphael's here. We were just talking at the break about the return of Nikki Bella and some of the other OGs. Do you guys know who the first person was? And I still am blown away. And John Cena's got a new relationship. Obviously, Nikki went on to have a child with her relationship. But do you know who the first person was when they got engaged at WrestleMania? And I brought SportsCenter, I guess I just gave it away, to WrestleMania, the first person to interview them after they got engaged in the ring at WrestleMania. Did you guys know that's me? You
That's
know that was
Jonathan
me.
Coachman.
That was me.
Yes.
I
That
was
was
gonna
me.
say Hannah Storm.
That's hilarious. There are still there were so many relationships when I was there, and everybody thinks, Coach, who did you date when you? I never dated a WWE diva. It was just everybody thinks, oh, there's all these beautiful women around. Yes, but it's kind of like Gabby when you have like a brother. When you're around somebody 4 or 5 days a week, I just never felt like I wanted to date somebody that I was around 4 or 5 days a week. It just never. But a lot of people did. A lot of people did.
I feel like it's easy to because you guys are around each other all the time.
It is easy to, and then the bad part is you're around each other all the time. You can't
Right.
get away. And
Right.
I was a party guy. Tommy knows this. I mean, me and Tommy were out on the road one time. No, we weren't. No, we never did that. One of these days when we have story time on the last word, I'm going to tell you a story. Gabby Raphael, this is a true story. That Gabby, let me ask you this:
Okay.
if you were stuck, let's say Arkansas, and you were
Uh,
stuck, and Tommy, don't interrupt my flow. And you were stuck in a snowstorm, a blizzard, and somebody else is paying for your drinks, and you can go nowhere for 2 or 3 days. Would you enjoy it and party with 50 people? Or would you try to go planes, trains, automobiles to get back to Connecticut? Which would you do, Gabby?
You know I would enjoy it, Coach. That's basically my weekend every weekend. So I would
Exactly.
100% enjoy it.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Not Big
Mhm.
Tommy C. No, 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 no. No, he was on I-70, then I-65, then the back roads of I-76. Anywhere but in the hotel drinking.
He
That's
didn't want
right,
to sleep in
Tommy.
a shed.
Yeah. That's right. Gabby, what he's
Hilarious.
not telling you was that he took off and Vince's plane was eating steak and shrimp and champagne and
Oh.
listening to Kid Rock. Wow, we got this freak snowstorm in Little Rock, Arkansas, and the power went
Hey,
out in our
hey,
hotel.
hey,
Wow.
I had shows to get home for. I would have much rather stayed in Little Rock, but we were racing to the airport. True story. We had to take off before like 11:15. There was a
That's right.
deadline, or we were
Yep.
going to be stuck in Little Rock.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm 26, 27 years old. You think I wanted to be on a private jet eating steak and caviar? Oh yeah, it was actually pretty good. All right, it was kind of fun, but man, that was our world back then. And then I traveled with the likes of John Cena, and then we were in a tables match, and he gave me 10 shots of Jack Daniels. He said, "Hey, coach, you took that bump like a real man." So I know John Cena like nobody else knows John Cena. So guys, and Gabby, as we move forward now, we're not going to see Roman Reigns, according to Michael Cole. Interesting thought process. And we're not going to see John Cena. He's going to be in Elimination Chamber, but he's going to Hungary to film a movie. Drew McIntyre doesn't even show up tonight. You got to believe that the physicality, Gabby, of the Elimination Chamber match, he's perfect for. So, what is the thought process with all of these legends? And we know they're not going to show up for at least a month.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little scary to think about because the Rumble, like you even mentioned, the men's Rumble over the women's was way more star power when it came to the men. It's going to rely a lot on CM Punk. It's going to rely a lot more on the Seth Rollins, like those kinds of guys now because you're missing out on a lot of these stars. I don't know. I'm still crossing my fingers and having hope for Drew McIntyre. It was Damian Priest that threw him out at the Rumble, so maybe we'll see him show up on Friday and want to kick the shit out of him, and then he's right back in the mix. And maybe we will end up seeing him in Elimination Chamber because I love Drew McIntyre. He's a monster of a man, and I want to see him in there with those big boys chopping some shit up. I like big meaty men just fighting each other. That's why I like the Elimination Chamber. But so I never say. I know you laugh every time I say that, but you never say never for Drew. I'm hoping we'll see him come back. You know, it was just Raw that we saw and we didn't see him. I'm hoping we see some things happen, but I'm not trying not to go into Elimination Chamber already upset because we only have a couple guys in it. So I'm going to wait to see all the guys before I go in thinking it's not going to be good, you know?
Okay. So, Tommy, we know it's going to be CM Punk and John Cena. And I feel like Cena's trying to develop some type of a character that we've never seen before. He's very serious. He said, I'm not taking any questions, delivered a 3-minute promo that I absolutely loved. And he said, hey, I know the guys are going to slander my name because I'm going to shoot a movie. But when I come back, they're going to be on notice. Did you like the promo?
I thought his promo was. I liked it and I didn't like it, but just him to proclaim that he's going to be in Elimination Chamber and not talk to anybody about it because you've been there 17 years, you've been the champ here. I mean, there's protocol to do things, and I don't think just throwing your hat and look. Triple H ain't going to say no. But the way you got to go about it is, I think, it's a little different. And I think they're just going to have Cena just keep chasing after that 17th. Even if he's in Elimination Chamber, I think Punk is going to win Elimination Chamber. That's my own opinion, and go on to face Cody Rhodes.
So that would be CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. I know, Raphael, you've made the odds at a lot of global books, including mybookie.ag. Use the promo code BTT. We'll give you a 100% bonus up to $1,000. Who do you have as the betting favorite, Raphael, to have the last WrestleMania match for John Cena?
Oh, it's CM Punk, who was the betting favorite to win the Royal Rumble. So I'm going to put him in this one. But if you're missing those two big stars we're talking about, no one can probably carry it, and we can maybe forget about those two stars. Why don't you put Logan Paul in there? Bring his heat into the Elimination Chamber. Bring his hatred into the Elimination Chamber. He knocked out some guys out already. So I think maybe if you want to put some heat into Elimination Chamber, put him in there.
Wow, Gabby, there's going to be a lot of unhappy, egotistical wrestlers backstage if they lose the WrestleMania moment they've earned because Logan Paul hasn't been here. But damn it, I would be here for it. Logan Paul, what did John Cena say? I'm going to win number 17 so I can shake the hand of the man who's going to win 18. If Logan Paul's a full-time superstar, to me, there's nothing he can't do.
Agreed. I mean, we just saw him tonight, and now they said he's got that match against Ray. He could easily beat Ray to be in the Elimination Chamber. Why not shake things up a little bit? We know the universe loves it when you shake things up. We gave Jay won the Rumble, and they're reacting great to it. So why not throw something else in the mix at this point and really piss some people off? I love to see it because I love when the audience freaks out and goes nuts all over social media. It's so much entertainment for me. Could you imagine, like if that's Logan Paul, imagine the trolls on social media. Oh God.
I've
That'd be
never
so fun.
understood, and about one of the guys, Bass says, Tommy tells the truth. I've never understood how wrestling fans, and I love that they care because I've always said I've got two kids because of WWE. I was in a lot of big matches because of WWE, but I've never understood people that it's life and death. That whatever happens on the show affects their lives. And Tommy, you were there when The Undertaker threw Mick Foley off. That's the most iconic moment in the history of the company. Does it amaze you when fans go, "This is everything"?
Yes, it does. I was there for it, Coach. We saw it. We all saw it, and the whole spot was just crazy. And yes, it makes you sit there and think, what are they going to do next? And that's what they try to keep people going on. What's going to happen next here in the WWE? Just like you're talking about right now. Roman's out. This guy's out. Is Drew going to be an elimination chamber? Those are all the questions to be answered. But when you sit there and you watch this spot happen, it was incredible, and we couldn't move fast enough, Coach.
All right. We are live here every single Monday night, 11 p.m. Eastern Time on Stadium. Don't forget, we have a live betting show, Coach and Company, every single weekday morning. We'll be live tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, getting you set for the Super Bowl. And also the Coach and Bro Show. Vince Russo, the legendary writer, right here on our YouTube page. Thank you all. We went over 15,000 subs last night, so we are growing very quickly, and we can't wait. Everybody, great job tonight. Well freaking done. Producer man, give me my one shot. There is only one thing left to do. It's time for you to go out into the world. Be kind to one another. Be nice to each other. And understand that pro wrestling is not life. For Big Tommy C, my girl Gabby AF, check out her podcast. And my man Raphael, my numbers guy. Producer man always behind the scenes. And intern Dan doing a great job. I'm the coach. We'll see you next Monday night right here live for the last word only. Where? Yes, on Stadium. Have a great night.